So it's 2 days before Christmas, and um, I am beginning to make my roast beast. And traditionally, I make this in the oven, but last year for Christmas I got a sous vide, and I've been using that for beef a lot, and it works out really, really, really good. I still haven't figured out like pork in it yet, but I've done chicken, which turned out great, and just beef turns out fantastic. I still prefer pork in the broiler. I don't know, just feel like it does it better. So I'm going to use the sous vide. I have it set to 135, and I'm going to cook it for about 20 hours. I thought I had it set. Let me try this again. So actually, no, 140 is what I'm going to do. You can do like between 130 and 145. And the lower the temperature you go, the more like kind of steak it'll feel. But if you go to the 140, 145 range, it'll be a little more just kind of fall off the knife, which is what I'm going to be looking for. And so, like I said, I'm going to let that cook for 20 hours. I'm going to make this rub that I put on it. And I've done this every Christmas since I've been making this. And normally I would cook it in the stove. And what I would do is I'd put this rub on it, and I'd cook it at 185 for about 2 hours or so, until it gets kind of 135 to 140 in the middle. And I'd also put like onions in the bottom and celery on the bottom of the tray, and then kind of cover it in aluminum foil. And in the last few minutes, I'd pull the top off and just let it kind of get darker on top. But I really, when I do it in the oven, I don't touch it as long as possible. Just kind of let it sit in its own juice. And speaking of juice, normally I'd make an au jus to go with this. Because I'm making it in the sous vide, I'm going to be making like a kind of a mushroom gravy. Because I really won't have the juice that I would have normally when I cooked it in the pan. So I'm making like a mushroom gravy to kind of go over the top, put that in the mashed potatoes and everything like that. And all this rub is mustard, and I had a little bit of stone ground mustard left, about a tablespoon, and then I have rosemary and thyme here. When you're taking rosemary and thyme off, just kind of pull against the grain and it'll fall off. Especially thyme's a pain in the butt, but then it's chopped it up, and I had 2 sticks that I'm going to use. I'm also just going to shove that in the bag too, because I love the oils from the sticks. And then I'm going to use a little bit of this Dusseldorf mustard to put in there. Probably, that's about 1. We'll call that like about 3 tablespoons of mustard. And then I got some prepared horseradish, and I was always told by my boys that they don't like horseradish, but little do they know that I've been putting this on their roast beast every year. I'm gonna put 2 nice helpings of the prepared stuff in there, and you can get prepared or creamy. And now creamy I use for sandwiches, and prepared I use to cook with. So I stick that in there, and I've also done this same thing with about, I don't know, good, maybe like quarter cup, half a cup of mayonnaise. Usually I just do it till I like the consistency of it. You can also do mayonnaise, but I didn't know how that would turn out in a sous vide, so I'm not going to use the mayonnaise and let it sit for 20 hours in a bag. I feel like that's probably not the greatest thing I've ever done. But yeah, then I just chop this up, and then I'm just going to throw this all in here and then mix it. Just like so. And then prior to this, this has been sitting out for about 15 minutes now. I'm going to let it sit out for probably about 15 more minutes before I rub this on. But as always, like I pat it dry. The reason you pat it dry, you want to get that slime stuff off. Salt, pepper, garlic powder, put that right on top, and just letting it sit and let it just absorb into the meat. So I'm going to let this sit for about 15 more minutes, mix this up, and then kind of rub this in with my hands all over the roast. Put it in the bag, and then stick it in the sous vide and cover it, and make sure it's the whole thing's underwater when you do this. Make sure that if you have to put like a ball in there or something to keep. Sometimes I use coffee mugs because I don't really have a ball here. But like a coffee mug, and I'll stick it in there, fill it with water, stick it in there, let it push it down. But you want to make sure it's submerged the whole time. And then when it's done, what I'll do is I'll take my cast iron and I'll put oil and butter in there and get it really hot, and then just sear each side of it about 1 or 2 minutes on each side till each side is like a nice dark, like almost not black, not burnt, but like black, like a nice dark color. And then set it, cover aluminum foil, let it sit for about 20-30 minutes, let everything come back together. If you're doing this in the oven, pull it off a little early. Don't let it get all the way to 145, 140, whatever you want to do. Pull it off early because it's continue to cook. So make sure that if you want like a medium rare, which is about 135, 140-ish, you pull it off about 10 degrees prior to that. So when it hits 130 or so, pull it off, cover it because you're going to let it sit. It's going to continue to cook. It's going to continue to get a little warmer. So if you pull it off at the temperature you want, it's actually going to get more done. So that's an important thing to know. And also, if you're doing it in the oven too, you can pre-sear your beef. When you do a sous vide, you post-sear. You do it afterwards. But if you wanted to, you could also pre-sear the beef in a cast iron and or on a grill. But cast iron, I think, just works better because it's just easier, especially when you're doing stuff for Christmas time. And it's actually nice out now, 43. But if you're normal Christmas time when it's 5, it's a little harder to get your grill hot enough to sear. So cast iron skillet works great for pre-searing. You can do it with any meat you're doing that you're going to bake or anything like that. You can pre-sear it. But yeah, this is it, and that's all it is. I'm just going to mix this up and rub it on the roast beef and be done in a couple days.